Yeah, what's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And this one is the White Walkers talk. And I'm talking to my main man in this game, my man from a long time ago. Hopefully everything is good with my audio right now. What up to everybody in the chat? And I'm talking to none other than Hype, small council member. Almost said, homie. Maester Payne. What's good, my man?
I'm happy to be here, man. Finally, I'm back at House Teflon, so it's great.
Yes, what up? You have not been here for a long time. You have not, you know,
close to 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, you have been on hiatus from House Teflon for a little bit.
Absolutely, but you have invited me before. I was just short notice, and I didn't really know what I could bring to the show, which is kind of the case here. But I'm going to do my best, anyways.
Oh, stop it! Everyone knows what you bring to the show. That is why you're there. Everything is cool and with my voice, hopefully, because if it wasn't, you know what I mean, I'm sure you guys will let me know in the chat. So what up to everybody in the chat and all that good stuff. What up to is Claire out there too? What up, Claire? If you out there. Is she? That's what's up. Hey, you Pack Mew, Emoji Mo, David Adams. What up to everybody? Machiavelli. And before we get into the White Walkers, Maester Payne, we're gonna talk about how you got started on YouTube real quick.
Sure.
Tell me, what got you into doing the YouTube videos and everything else? How'd that all come about?
Originally, it was what I wanted to do was show clips and things like that and put music around them and stuff like that, stuff that I still haven't been able to figure out how to do. But the person who got me into it, like back then there was you, Charlie, James that I think just started. There was Otaku Assemble. There's the big ones, but I never watched the big ones like Radio Westeros or things like that. Lady Kayla was there, and just people like that I always used to watch. And you were the one that said, dude, do a video, let's see it. So up to you.
That's what's that Lady Kayla. I watched Lady Kayla myself. I liked her stuff. I don't even know what happened to her. I should try to get her on, Lady Kayla. But I remember she had some problems going on and everything else. But I enjoyed all her videos. I think she was the first one to come out with the R+L equals J thing on YouTube. I think that was the first place I heard it on YouTube was her.
I don't know if it was her. I heard it, but well, I figured it out beforehand, so I didn't watch.
No, I'm saying this on YouTube.
Yeah, possibly, very possibly. You probably saw her before. Like when I started watching, it was all you guys sort of at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, because she had the video. I think Comic Book Girl 19 had the big effect video of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Comic Book Girl 19 was my ultimate favorite. Yeah, I haven't watched her in like 2 years now. I don't think 2 or 3 years, something like that. Since the first season that we started doing this, I haven't watched Comic Girl 19 anymore.
Yeah, she got away from it a little bit, I think, and she said one thing that kind of pissed me off and made me upset. And she, even though it's probably true, but she was just like, "What do you think I am? Some webcam person sitting behind my camera making a video? That's not what I'm doing here." And you know, like, okay, I'm sure that's how you started. That was a little stuck up for you to say, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? But after she said that, it kind of threw me off. But I still love her stuff, and I still occasionally go by and check her out once in a while and stuff. And she does great, and she represents comic books mostly to me. You know what I mean? Movies. That's what I look at for more than Game of Thrones content.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. You know what I mean? So, what up to everybody in the chat? I got thrown off. I seen somebody in the chat threw me off real quick. So we're gonna talk about the White Walkers.
Sure.
Real quick, you know what I mean? Not real quick. I'm sure people are thinking, "Oh, you're gonna have a small council member. It's probably gonna be James Johnson because obviously he is in the Man of the Night's king." But that would be, you know, if you got James for that, we know James' opinion on that. But your opinion, we don't really know straight off the bat.
So I'm not certain that I have an opinion, but we'll try to figure one out while we're doing this.
I'm sure you have a somewhat of an opinion on what's going on there with the White Walkers. So, you know, first we were introduced to the White Walkers right off the bat, first thing and off the storyline. and they murder some Night's Watchmen and all that. Now, when you first heard about the White Walkers, did you think that they would play such, I mean, obviously they would play such an important role, but do you think that the role that they will play, so it seems that they're playing just a straight evil role in the show, right? That they're just the evil, the bad guys.
If you were, yeah, I could see that, definitely.
Now, do you think that in the books that it's going to be the same way? You think that it's more deeper than that in the books, or you think that it's just straight?
Oh, no. Yeah, it's definitely deeper than that. They're not just going to be straight villains for sure. Definitely not.
Yeah, I think it's easier for the show for them just to portray it that way, and that's why they're showing them that way as straight villains. Yeah, but definitely in the books, it gets a little bit deeper, and we're mostly going to be talking more on book canon than show shit. All right, so I didn't mean that. I love this show. All right, so we see them when he gets into this duel. The White Walkers, the big scene there is that they allow a duel for these guys. The guy gets challenged and they allow the duel to go down. And while this duel is going down, we see that the White Walkers are laughing, they're snickering, they basically have some type of language, they're communicating with each other, but they don't show that in the show at all, that type of personality of the White Walkers.
No, they absolutely don't. Yeah, it was cool. That's the thing. Like, I know James has thought more about the hive mind sort of aspect of the White Walkers, but we do know that they actually can speak to each other in some sort of language, because you get that from the character who hears them. It sounds like crackling ice or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man.
But I guess in the show, like, we've never had. Did we see somebody say something once this last season
about
one of the White Walkers? No, did one of them speak at all?
No White Walkers has spoken yet.
They haven't spoken. I thought.
I mean, the guy gave
a word.
I think the guy gave the yell on the horseback the one time when he looked at Sam and it was coming down. And I think that's it.
Okay, no, you could be right. I wasn't sure, but in the back of my head, I thought that last season we saw one say like one word or something like that, but I probably just made that shit up.
I don't think they have said anything like that. They haven't said a word yet. So I think that it's more interesting of a character, and I think that that's something that the show messed up on. That they should have showed a little bit more personality with these guys instead of having them as these. And they show a little something with them by showing them carrying back the baby, being gentle with the baby, bring it all the way back. You know what I mean? That must be some super blanket, that baby, because the baby's only wrapped in one blanket. It's not like that baby's very bundled. You know what I mean? And they're bringing it to the lands of always winter. So I don't know what's in that. I don't know what's in that guy.
You raise a very good point that they have obviously super blankets north of the wall.
They must.
Yeah, they must.
They must have these wildling ass super blankets out of some super fabric, because that's one blanket wrapped around that little baby. And
when I was a baby, I think it was my grandma from Scotland. It was middle of winter here in Canada, and they were having like family over or something like that. And I was still fairly much an infant. And she just told my mom to set me out on the deck outside in the middle of winter. And, they had a blanket on and shit like that. And sure enough, they did it. My other grandma freaked out. You can't fucking put them out there in the middle of the fucking snow and ice. But they did, and I was fine. I'm still here. But so it does happen. I mean, maybe babies have some sort of weird tolerance. Fuck if I know.
Yeah, it's quite, definitely. I'm sure, baby, or maybe the White Walkers somehow was manipulating the cold and whatever. I'm just playing around with the whole blanket situation. But I know. It is a little bit weird, but that does show them having some type of compassion, some type of caring ability. And maybe that's what the show is going for.
Sure.
That for other than them talking and duel. But I think that the duel would have been better than just the opening scene of them just cutting the guy's head off and then having the other one close his eyes and then just go to fade to black. I think it would have been better to see the duel.
Just to raise an argument, as you know that I want to do from time to time. with the baby, maybe the fact that they're so delicate with it is because they can't have it dying on the way there. They need it alive. So maybe, arguably, I agree with you that it's probably a bit more compassionate, but maybe it's just to make sure that the baby survives until they do whatever ceremony it is that they need to do.
Yeah, I talked about that a little bit in the video I did, and I was wondering, how you feel? I have not seen the White Walkers change anyone to a White Walker that was dead. I think they have to be alive to be changed to a White Walker. Even when you see the Children of the Forest changed a guy originally to the White Walker, he was still alive.
Yeah, you're right. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
So maybe that is a key to how to get changed to a White Walker. Also, we're looking at the blood type here. And, you know, it could be a certain blood type that gets changed down. Now, it could be a Targaryen type of blood, or it could be a North type of blood, Northmen type of blood. And I don't know if it's been proven in the books. I don't think so definitively. But I always thought of extra tolerance towards the cold more than the other northern houses, as have the extra, they can take the fire more than other people can take the fire.
Okay, you picked up a bit in the middle of that, so I missed half of what you said there.
Yeah, so I was saying that I always thought, is it breaking up again? Hopefully it's not. I always thought that it's still breaking up.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. I always thought that the Starks had extra, they could take the cold more than the other houses, and just like the Targaryens can take the fire more. So maybe that is a factor of who they're picking for the babies.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know as to Craster's actual background. Like, was Craster from an old Stark bloodline somewhere down the road or anything like that? I'm always more curious to know about that. He seems to know quite a bit about the Starks, but I'm actually kind of curious as to how long Craster's been around himself in general. But yeah, I think that now, do you think, say, that the Starks are the only ones that have a better tolerance for the cold, like the Targaryens are, or do you think other northern houses are, you know, capable as well?
No, I would think it's only the Starks and the Targaryens that have this extra ability. Okay. You know, just like they're the ones, you know, when you look at them, you got to think of the Starks and Targaryens like yin and yang, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Ones have purple eyes, the other ones have the dark gray eyes. Ones have brown hair, the other ones have the silver blonde hair. One can take fire, their fire sigil. One can take the cold. You know what I mean? That's the way I always looked at it. But the thing I think that people don't realize about the Targaryens or whatever, but the Targaryens, you know, the traits are very weak. You know, anyone who mates with a Targaryen, unless it's another Targaryen, their line overpowers the Targaryen line every time.
I used to argue against this because I thought Targaryens are so pronounced, but you're right. It's because they were always sleeping with each other and things like that. When they do step out, they lose things, just like sort of Ned's family did too once Catelyn came in. Most of them had Catelyn's features. Yeah,
the Starks too. The Starks lose a lot of their features too. Yeah. And that's right. So when we get to the question that was asked before of Jon Snow, that what was it, that he has more North in him? Then that, I think that's more probably because the Stark's line took over the Targaryen line, so he looks more like a Stark, though the other kids look more like.
I still disagree with you there. I'm still saying that Jon is.
Go ahead.
Not a Targaryen. Although, if I do have to switch that around, okay, my main argument is that Ned was married before Catelyn. So that aside, let's say that Jon is hard. I don't think it's going to be Rhaegar. I just don't. I feel like perhaps it's Aerys somehow managed to rape Lyanna, and Rhaegar was helping her. But I don't think it's Rhaegar's kid. I really don't. It doesn't make sense to me why she would just run off and let all this chaos happen.
I hear you. I just don't. I don't know if she thought that all that would happen.
But
I don't know if she thought that people would take it that far. People, they took it to extremes. You know what I mean?
But at some point, I mean, the war didn't just happen like that. At some point, word had to get to her, and she's like, oh, shit, you know what? Maybe I should go tell people that, oh, fuck, I'm in love with this dude, and we're actually happy about it. Let's not take things to this extreme. You would think that would happen.
I mean, do you think that Helen of Troy knew that was going to happen to her?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I mean, when these women, and all wars basically are fought over women, you know, that's everything is over the woman. That's what it's all about. Sure. You're going to steal my woman. It's not about land. It's not about crops. It's not about money. It's about the women. They don't want people of other races taking women. You're going to take our women from us. That's the biggest threat in the world. That's the biggest threat for any culture in the world. And you see, back in the day, they don't want the white man, Japan man. Why? Because they're scared the white man going to come and take their women. That's it. They don't care about the land. They give the land, you keep the women. That's what it's all about. So it basically could be a situation like that going down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that I can actually see. That's a very good point. I will still disagree with it just because I don't think, again, Lyanna would let things escalate that far if she had a choice in the matter.
It's. Do you think that she knew that would happen by her leaving? Do you really think that she thought that Robert would declare war on the crown? That her father would be executed, all these things would go down? Because I think that if she thought, I think if she thought all that would happen, she wouldn't have done it. I think she'd say, "Fuck that! I'm not doing this. I'm out. I can't do it. I'm not." You know what I mean?
I just feel like at some point it would have had to have gotten to her ears. Now, Rhaegar or not Rhaegar, but the Kingsguard at the Tower of Joy. We don't know that Rhaegar was actually there. We believe that he took her there, and I think maybe perhaps it's said, but I don't know if it's actual canon that that's how she got there. The Kingsguard are there. They could have been sent there by Aerys himself to keep her in there. Because that's what bothers me, is why she was never allowed to leave. Kingsguard are there. They knew everything that was happening about in the world.
Uh-huh.
They didn't tell her, but you would think Rhaegar, if he was there, or knew that she was there, would give her the message if they were, quote unquote, in love.
Mm-hmm.
She was never told of any of this. Or
yes.
Seemingly.
All right, so the Kingsguard of the Tower of Joy, they're there to protect Jon Snow. They're not there for her. It's got nothing to do with her. They're there for the baby. And you know,
you're also there.
It seems like she's not. I don't think that she's a. You know, she is a kind of a ward in that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the way I look at it, as is a type of prisoner, like a Theon type situation. Because she's pregnant, they're not letting her leave. She's captive, kind of like a Sansa situation. She's in that, but she does love this man. So she's kind of happy to be in this situation from what it seems like to me. So, but they're there to protect the baby, not her. If that baby is born, they would take that baby and run and leave her before Ned and them got, and just go with the baby and leave her body there if they had that choice. But Ned and them got there, you know, while the birth was going on. You know what I mean? But if they would have been there a little bit later, I think the Kingsguard could have snatched the baby and left the body and just been gone. And that's what they would have done.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I can see what you're saying.
And then we would really have a real life Aegon situation across the Narrow Sea or something like that, with Sir Arthur Dayne raising this baby.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. I still, I don't know. I can't accept it. It makes perfect sense. It absolutely does. I've always said that R+L J is a beautiful, made out, right there in front of your face theory. And for some reason, that's what throws me off, is that it's right there and it's so laid out that I feel like there has to be a twist somewhere.
Yeah, I think what happens sometimes is that you know, when we read George R. R. Martin stuff, we always say he's not cliche. He's not cliche. He's not going to be cliche. It's always going to be some type of situation. But I don't think that's for everything. I think some things are just going to be what it is. You know what I mean? I think in all situations, it'll be different. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's going to be cliche. He's going to have a couple of things in there that are just that. And I think that the R+L = J is one of those situations.
It could be, but well, I suppose that depends on what his actual end game is. R+L = J could be exactly what you said, and just the cliche, and it's there. But unless he has some big hook at the end that's gonna fuck everybody over, because he hates when his mom used to tell him how the story was gonna end, and he'd always pick it up. I think R+L = J is there to throw us off of the truth, but there could be something else revolving around it where it is true, and that's the big twist. Now we have twin theory and stuff like that now that John and Danny are twins, or I would say John and Mira are twins, but not Rhaegar. But there's got to be some more twist further on down the road.
I mean, I just don't know what the twist would be. I think, to me, the twist is Blood Raven is the one who created that whole situation. That's my twist. Bringing it all the way back around to the white motherfucking walkers.
We strayed a little.
No. Jon Snow is part of the White Walkers. It's all going around. We're talking about everything dealing with the White Walkers, and we really don't have a lot on the White Walkers, really. We don't have a lot on them.
Nope,
we deal with them in the books. There's nothing there. We're just really basing everything from things that we gathered from it, from other chapters or whatever. We don't have a lot on them, though. We have more on the show than we have in the books on the White Walkers.
So do you think that they're Stark blood?
I think that Craster is a Targaryen North person, like Blood Raven, like Jon Snow.
Okay, so
yeah.
An eye on him.
Huh?
He's there keeping an eye on things?
Yeah, I think that, when you look at Craster, you have to ask yourself, why did they choose this one man to make the deal with, right? What's so special about him that he gets to make this deal, that they're going to come and protect him, that he ain't got to worry about, and to the point where everyone knows about this deal. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that, and no one fucks with him because they know there must be some consequence, right? It's like he made a mafia deal with some family, and they said, listen, I'm going to give you my babies, and when I give you my male babies, you protect me. And he's out there all alone with all these women, and no one attacks him. So everyone out there must know about the deal and respect it. So that means someone must have tried him and got dealt with for them to understand it, not to fuck with this dude. So what makes him so special? And the only thing that makes people special in this show that we see is blood. So it has to have something to do with his blood, that they want his babies.
And Val and Paula are Targaryen looking themselves, correct?
Correct. And when you look at the things that deal with there's a couple of things. You look at, the whole death, when the whole mutineers death scene, dealing with that situation with Craster, and Craster gets killed. And you see when Cold Hands goes and kills these guys, right? You see that Blood Raven is controlling the ravens, and the ravens go in there and peck and claw the eyes out of all the mutineers and everything else. Why is Blood Raven, right, and Cold Hands defending Craster and killing these people? Well, why would they do that? I mean, if they're the guy, if he's the guy making the White Walkers, and the White Walkers are the enemies, they just did him a favor, right? They just stopped the White Walkers from having more White Walkers being made, so they should be celebrating. But instead, they go there and kill these guys for killing him. And it seems personal to me that why would Blood Raven get involved himself? Cold Hands had it under control. No, he didn't need any help. But the Ravens specifically, and he made a point, George R. R. Martin, to point out that the Ravens plucked their eyes out and scratched their eyes out. So that Blood Raven was involved. So why would he be involved if he's on the side of good the Children of the Forest that are fighting the White Walkers. Why would that happen? Unless there's some type of connection there.
Interesting. So either when Aegon I came and made a deal with Torrhen Stark and the King Who Knelt, there was something set up there where they would put their own person behind the wall, keep the, the Starks as wardens of the North, and have them there. But they have their own there. Or when the second queen came and visited the wall, but perhaps she was, because that was later on, and that might play in with the time with Craster's age frame, but she's probably checking up on something over there that was dealt with when the king, because there's something weird about the King Who Knelt, because Ned makes a point of saying he never trusts anything somebody says to me, right? And yet his blood is known as being the King Who Knelt. So I feel like they made some sort of agreement with each other, and that's been broken somehow. So there was a pact made, but somehow it's been broken.
It's quite possible that there's a couple of pacts. We hear about the pact of ice and fire that was never consummated, that was supposed to go down between the Starks and the Targaryens. And we hear about the pact of that the Children of the Forest made with the realms of men. So it's quite possible that a situation with that. But I think when Queen Alicent, when she went up to the wall and she was given the gift, and she gives them the gift, that to me is basically what did she do? I mean, at that time, the Nightfort, right, is their #1 castle. That's what they're running the Night's Watch out of. The #1 castle. There's a Nightfort, and they get rid of that, right? She doesn't want that open anymore. To get rid of that. That's what it's all about, I think. This shutting it down. Huh?
Is that said, or is your theory that it was her that got it shut down?
Well, when she starts, when she goes over and she moves them over, that's what happens to the castle. That's why she sent her own jewels to get paid to get the new castle built. That was the reason. Once I give you this money to build this castle, we shut this shit down right here. And they did.
I did not remember that, if I ever knew it. Is that from the books itself, or is that from the World of Ice and Fire?
Oh, who?
When Queen Alicent went. And
the Queen Alicent story? I think the Queen Alicent story is in the books itself. Who is echoing? Is that me echoing right now? Am I doing that? Do I need to put headphones on?
I don't know. I can hear myself coming back, so the echo's on. I think it's on your end, because I don't have anything else opened up over here.
All right. Let me turn down my volume here. Maybe that'll prevent it from happening and stuff. Oh, it's saying it's on you, MP. You're echoing your mic.
It's when I talk, but I can hear it.
I think that... All right, you're good now. I think it was me. I think it probably was you echoing off of my microphone.
Oh,
because my microphone was too loud, but I turned it down and I pointed more towards me, my mic. So hopefully that helps it out.
Anyways, yeah, continue. Where were we?
Whoa. Where were we? I would say what up to the people. Real quick, what up to everybody in the chat? It is hard for me to get out here and talk to your chat when thank you very much, Arrow Doe. I appreciate that. And it's hard for me to get to the chat and talk when I'm talking to someone like MP who gets you thinking. They gotta concentrate on what the man is saying. So but I'm taking this time right now real quick to say what up to all y'all. What up to DJ11? What up to Kevin Clary, Renee M, Ariel Doe, George Spartans, Pete Bossy, Bionic Flux, Christina the Sphinx, who joined me last week. Please watch that last one when she was on. She did a great job. And I'm out. Well, we'll see Christina the Sphinx tomorrow on something else. What up to John Taylor Scott? What up to Lord Commander of the NSS Guard, and I believe that is AK-47. What up, David Adams, my man? What's going on? Joe Swag, my man. What is good? Kevin Cleary, what is up? You know what I mean? I will come back and I'll give more shout outs a little bit later. Thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate that. What up, Kyle? Thanks for coming through. And everybody else out there watching, I appreciate it. I 100% do appreciate it. So we are talking about the White Walkers, me and MP, bringing MP back out. You know, I'm bringing people back they ain't seen in a while. Right? But we ain't seen Nico in a while. We brought her back. Now we got MP in the house. We brought him back. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? Bring people back. So we're talking about Craster right now, dealing with the White Walker situation and why he is so important to this cause and why they want this man's babies. And we see, you know, they basically they're tracking the babies down. That is, I do believe, the 99th baby. Is that the 99th or the 100th baby? Craster's last one, monster.
99, but it's now missing. So, like, I don't know, because he's dead. So can there be 100? There is 99, the special one.
99 must have to be the special one because it can't be a 100th one. That's why I do think that the child will definitely play more of a role in the books. Maybe not in the show, but definitely in the books. You definitely will play a more role because they definitely want this baby. They're definitely coming after this baby. You know, even in the show, you know, you see that this baby is still a baby. Out of all the other people up in there have grown up, but for some reason they had to keep this baby a baby in the show, or they would have aged him up.
I mean, I don't know how that works. Like, do you think that they just rapidly grow?
Who, the White Walkers?
Yeah, once they transform the baby, like what they did in the show. I assume that they just sort of set them into their world, as it were, give them whatever it is. I don't know if they rapidly grow.
That's a good point, because when we see the White Walkers from the show perspective, from what we've seen here, they all look like old men, right?
They do. Sure.
They all got gray beards. It's not like you don't see one with a blonde beard, right? We ain't see no young ones, right? With a nice flowing brown black beard.
Half teenage walkers. There's no teenage walkers ever.
No, we don't see that. They're all they get old. They're old men, it seems like. So it must be a very fast aging process. Must have happened very rapidly. Maybe that's the reason that they're back or something like that, because that they died. So. And it would be the polar opposite of the Children of the Forest, who have long lifespans.
Well, I like that tie. That works. Yeah.
So it could be something going on along those matters like that. You know what I mean? With that, so maybe that's why they have come back. Maybe that's why they have because that is a question that people don't ask. That's out there. Why did they come back this time? The White Walkers. Why are they here? If you take the show canon or whatever, you see that why they were invented. The Children of the Forest, if you want to go by that, invented them and stuck them on man. Mm-hmm. Then they signed the pact, right, with the man, and saying, listen, man, after everyone was killed, they waited for everyone to get killed. They waited for all the kingdoms to be killed, and they let the last stragglers find them and said, hey, we know how to beat them. Sign this pact with us and we'll help you. Then they help them. And somehow the White Walkers disappear. But now, all of a sudden, they come back. Why are they back? Did the children unleash them again? But for some reason, this time, they could not control them. And that is why they had to come clean and tell why they created the White Walkers in the first place.
I see that. Again, it's very, very possible. Obviously, they create them. I feel like there's an off chance that there was a pact made, and that guy that we saw getting the obsidian put in his chest, although he looks like he's a hostage, I think he was a volunteer or presented to them to do this by the first mission. Now, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but we know that the first men have the children's powers, and I think because that war raged for a long, long time. I think there was an original pact, and then when the Andals and everybody started coming over, they brought them back, and then they made a new pact because one was broken. They made one with them, but I feel like the first men were there a long time, and there's a reason that they're called the first men. I don't know if they ever migrated there. I think there's a chance they were born. They were the first men, and perhaps they migrated out, and then they came back.
Mm-hmm.
I can't guarantee.
I always looked at the first men, like the first men as like the American Indians and the Andals as the conquistadors.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. That's the way I always look at them. So I don't know how long they've been there or whatever, but I think that they are mostly originated. They may have came over from somewhere else and not started there. I'm sure they did, you know, but I don't know exactly where did where they drop from and stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Where did they drop from? Wait a second. Well, I do know where they dropped from. What am I talking? I know the first men. I'm trying to think. They came.
I don't think it's first men. I really don't.
I don't know. Either I'm drinking and I can't think of it, or it was never said.
Might be in the world of Ice and Fire. I don't know, but it's just weird that their term for them is the first men. It could be that they're the first ones that set foot there, or it could be that they were the first spawn of the human.
I got Christina the Sphinx saying the Veil. I got the Lord Commander saying Essos. Bravos, North Essos. For the first men, no, I don't think the first men did that. The first men came from across the Arm of Dawn, right? Yeah.
I do think that's in the history books, but I don't know if that
originally how it really happened.
Yeah, I think perhaps, and this again, crackpot shit again from a while ago, but
right.
They left. People left, and that's when the Arm of Dawn got broke, so that they couldn't get back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started coming back in. And so there was a pact made a long time ago, and they gave up one of their own. Probably like a son, or maybe even the actual a king or something. Turned into the way. And I know I'm getting crazy here, so bear with me. But that pact ended, and there was that huge war. And then people started coming back again, and a new pact was made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not positive on this. It's just spewing thoughts that jump into my head every once in a while. Nothing to back it up except
no, but it sounds good. It's a good sounding theory. I mean, it's definitely 100% possible that it could definitely went down like that because you know. But no, go ahead. Say what you're saying.
Oh no, I was just saying I hope so. And sorry, I got smoke in my eye. That's why I wigged out there for sure.
No, I was trying to see if I mute the microphone here and there if it sounds better with your echo, if it's me making you echo.
I don't have a mic or anything at all, so I don't know what it is that I can do if it is on my end. I'll turn my volume down.
You're fine. It's just probably something doing with me. Always, every time I do live streams recently, it's just been some problem with my microphone and all this stuff. So probably something to do with the Don, but you know, we're gonna keep it moving there anyway, and keep talking about what we talking about, the White Walkers, and going on through everything dealing with the White Walkers, as remote or as direct as have to be. We dealing with the White Walkers. No, Christina, I my luck. Well, Bad luck? No, I wouldn't say bad luck in my life. Maybe, you know, certain times here and there. But nah, I'm a pretty lucky dude, man. I'm a pretty lucky dude in life and everything else. You know, you know, but yeah, I do believe the system is hating on the dime, but we gonna keep plugging away no matter what. You know what I mean? So let's talk about this Lightbringer situation.
Okay.
This sword of Lightbringer, the sword that supposedly defeats the White Walkers, is that's the sword of these heroes. Do you think that? Do you know? Do you? I actually always said Dawn. I think is probably most likely Lightbringer. Do you fall along those lines, or do you think another sword is going to be Lightbringer?
This is where I get crackpotting again, and I think it's very possible. And I think there's evidence of it in the show as well, but that Dawn was taken forged into ice. And that's why ice is slightly different than the Valyrian steel.
You think that ice is Lightbringer? Was Lightbringer?
I think it was forged into Lightbringer. Or into ice. And that's why we get the episode two swords where it's separated into two swords, and why ice is described as being larger a sword than any man. It's too big, right? There's I'm pretty sure that it's a sword that's bigger than any man needs. And they only use it ceremonies, you know, for ceremonies.
So you're saying that Ned Stark took the sword back to Winterfell and forged it into ice to make it bigger?
I am.
All right. I just want to make sure that that's clear. But that's what I thought you said.
You're absolutely wrong. Because my argument against that would be, at what point? So you're supposed to just extract Dawn by itself again and do whatever it was forged into their Valyrian steel sword by itself. But that sword, right, that whatever Stark it was that went to get it, why was that big ass huge sword by itself out in Valyria? Why that one big sword? They just happened to come across it. Oh yeah, we'll take the biggest one in the whole Seven Kingdoms. It's strange.
Now that sword ice, that's not the original ice. That's forged after the original ice, right? A replica to look like it.
It was based on, apparently it was based on an ancestral sword of the Stark.
So maybe that's why it was a little bit bigger. Maybe they got the measurements, or they just went along that.
Okay, so what we're talking about now is that Stark's giant way back when.
Quite, I mean, I'm not saying that your idea is wrong. I'm saying it's quite possible. It could be right. We lose track of the sword. We know that. Obviously, the sword was not given back to this Dane bitch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did not mean to say that. I mean, check. It was not given back to it. All right. I just think that a whole story is so false. I don't know how anyone could buy it. Oh, you killed my brother, and I'm just going to take the sword and jump off the building. But somehow my nephew's name Ned. I don't. You know, it's not fitting. It's not believable. And I think that it was just, I don't know how anyone could have believed that story. So we know for fact, I'm telling you people in the chat, trust the Don on this, MP on this. The sword was not given back to House Dane. It was taken by the Starks.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You know, okay, about Honorable Ned and all this situation. I don't believe that. We were shown how deep his honor goes in that battle at the Tower of Joy, right? When Howland Reed saved his ass and he still executed Arthur Dane, right? We've seen how deep his honor was.
Wow.
And wait, I'm not done. And we can compare that honor to Robert Baratheon, right? Who was supposed to be the big bad badass warrior, but when he had Sir Barristan Selmy in the same situation, he didn't kill him.
Nope.
He spared him, right?
Yep.
So we see the contrast of this honor that Ned Stark supposedly has. We see his honor right there. So when we hear the story of Ned Stark honorably bringing back this sword to House Dane, don't believe it. That's what they're trying to show you. You know, that's what the story is. When you see how honorable Ned Stark did that, and you know that's not what happened. You know what I mean? He didn't bring that sword back. That's the way I took it.
I respectfully disagree. I think Ned gave him mercy. I think Arthur Dane was dead. Hallam killed him. Ned just took his head in and fucking ended it quick rather than having him bleed out.
It looked like mercy to you in the show?
Yeah.
Because when you hear Bloodraven and Bran talk about it, it didn't sound like Bran had respect for his dad for doing it. It sounded like he lost respect from his dad for doing it.
That's because
that's where it came across to me.
This is where Ned was dishonorable. Is the fact that he lied about the events to his family, probably to spare Howland Reed any dishonor, because Howland Reed's doing Ned a big favor at some point down the road. It has to become that.
Well, Howland Reed didn't do anything wrong.
Well, he jumped up and stabbed him in the back.
Well, the guy tried to kill him. The guy just almost took it. I mean, listen. I'm saying, MP. If a guy comes in the room, right, with an AK-47, and he's mowing everybody down, and I hide underneath the bodies, and he walks past me, and I come up from behind him and jig him, that's all fair, right? So I don't see anything wrong.
AK-47s and shit, but one-on-one combat, it's not necessarily the same thing.
Yes. Yes, it's a different. You're 100% correct. It's a different honor game dealing with one-on-one combat. But I'm talking, that's Howland Reed's side. The one-on-one combat, that came with Ned and him when they were dueling. Right?
Sure, okay, fine.
So he should have mopped up the guy he thought he already killed. If you leave that dude alive, that's on you. Now, in the whole dealing with Ned's situation, Ned, I think that is what it's meant to show. We see the contradictions of Ned Stark throughout his whole life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And even when the chips were down, right? When the chips were down for Ned Stark, when his honor was most tested, right? When his trial of Job happened, he failed it because he said straight up that he plotted to take the throne in front of the people, which gave Joffrey the right to behead him. If he never said that, they couldn't have killed him publicly like that. It'd have been impossible for them to save face. So he didn't have his honor. He should have stuck to his guns right then. But he didn't. He chose his daughters over his honor.
Well, not at that point. At that point, he was still trying to seize the throne for himself, not because he wanted it.
Well, Ned never actually tried to seize the throne for himself. I'm saying he admitted to doing that to save his daughter's life. And if he never admitted to doing that, they wouldn't have been able to kill him publicly. Therefore, he broke his honor. He gave up his honor in front of the people.
He was dumb.
He was dumb. And you see that's what the people believe happened in the play of the Mercy situation on the show. How Ned is depicted. That's what they believe really happened because he did that. So he sacrificed his honor, and now he's a buffoon on the show.
The sheer fact of him not copying Robert's words, word for word, as Robert wrote them, shows a bit of dishonor right there, in general.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and you see that right there when he did. You're exactly correct. When he didn't, he forged the will for Robert. right? So when Cersei rips that up, she's probably a little bit right. He forged it, so it's kind of bullshit, right? So the fact you forged that letter makes that document bullshit. So she had the right to rip it up, really, when you look at it. But we'll go back. We'll go back over towards the White Walkers.
It's gonna happen all conversation, man.
Yeah, that's quite all right. You know what I mean? But it's still dealing with the White Walkers. We're dealing with Ned Stark and dealing with the sword and everything else and dealing with that, because that's what brings back the whole White Walker situation anyway. You know what I mean? So dealing with that, we were talking about his sword. I was saying that Ned Stark is not as honorable as people give him. I think that you keep seeing depictions of it throughout the show, that people just have this false delusion of him. So when we hear that he given the sword back to R+L J, do not believe it. He did not give the sword back. That is just another one of Ned Stark's false pretenses of him being so honorable. He did not do that. It
doesn't even come from the Dane family. It comes from his men. That's what he told his men he was doing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was them who told the story about him going back and taking the sword to Shara or
all right, so people are saying that I would, in the chat, that I would have did the same to protect my daughter. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have. We're not talking about me. We're talking about Ned Stark at this particular time. All right, and what he's protected and what he's represented as a show and what's going on. And, you know, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just telling you what he did. And if he would have stuck to his guns, he wouldn't have got executed. They couldn't have executed him publicly. There'd been nothing he could have done. They couldn't do that. He's too powerful. He's Ned Stark. You can't do that to him. You can't kill someone like that. They needed him to do that to kill him. They needed him to admit that he tried to steal his throne to give them a reason to kill him, or they couldn't do it. I mean, they would have had to send him to the wall or something.
Okay, that's what you're talking about, the step to Baylor when he freely admitted that he did that. Yeah, you're right. I got you.
You know what I mean? There's no way. He's Ned Stark. You can't just kill people like that. He has too much clout. You can't do that. By him admitting that, gave them the reason to kill him. And that's how he gave up.
Anyway, Joffrey would have done it.
I don't think he would have, if he would have been up there on that stage and say he agreed to say that stuff. And instead of saying that, he would have just said the truth. They wouldn't have killed. They couldn't have killed him right then. They would have took him away. But I don't think they could have killed him right then.
I don't know. I think it was, nobody wanted it to happen besides Joffrey. Like, Cersei was
Littlefinger. Littlefinger did it. It was him who did it. It wasn't Joffrey.
Yeah, you're right. Littlefinger probably planned it.
He was right there talking to him. He's the one who got him to do it. It was all Littlefinger. But that was something. I'm going to ask you this real quick, and then we'll go right back to the White Walkers. Nico said something last week. She defended Littlefinger, saying that he did not betray Ned. Do you believe that?
How so? In what context? Right.
Well, I can't say it the way she said it, but I'm going to try my best. All right. So Tina Foyle, please do not get mad. I'm just trying my best to explain it. She's saying that he gave Ned Stark every chance. That he told him right off the bat, don't trust me. All right. That's number one. He tried to teach Ned how to play the Game of Thrones. He told him what to do. And when Ned did not take his advice, he had no choice but to make the next move to save his own life.
Well, that's still a betrayal, though. He's using his life over.
Well, it can't be a betrayal. If I tell you don't trust me from the jump, it can't be a betrayal anymore. That's on you. That's on you, right?
Very true. It's very true. But Ned did, and Littlefinger knew Ned did. He was tasked with a purpose, and Littlefinger did betray that task. You know, he told Ned he was going to do it, but it's still some form of betrayal.
I mean, so that's her argument. I'm not gonna. I wish she was here. She could get into it better. I'm not gonna put words in her mouth, but that is basically her stance. It's my lawyering up for her, my Johnny Cochran for her on that situation. I thought it was a very good point that a lot of people never brought up before. So, you know, I think it's quite plausible what she's saying about Littlefinger, that he did. She said, you know, he did give Ned some advice. He did try to do things with give him the right path, and Ned just didn't do whatever he tried to give him advice, and Ned never did.
This is absolutely true. I agree with all of that. I'm just saying that that one time is a betrayal to get the King's Guard or royal.
But at that time, yes, because when he but was it already over by then? Was it already over for Ned by that point?
Well, not if he would have had the guard. Not if he would have had the guard. If Littlefinger would have fulfilled that obligation, he would have had the guard.
She still had the Lannister army, right?
But not inside the walls.
But if that would have happened and Ned would have seized that and had the city guard, and do you don't think the Lannisters would have came down there and just sacked the whole city and it's over?
Ned would have got his army march, and we saw the city defended with a ghost army. So.
I don't know if he would have had anything to save him. I think it would have been I don't think there's any way possible.
So then he gets on a boat and rides north.
I mean, he's not riding anywhere. If he seizes right then, he seizes Joffrey and grabs up Cersei in the throne room with the city guard. Right at that particular time, Tywin Lannister is coming to Winterfell with Jaime Lannister. I mean, coming to King's Lannister, and I think they're burning the whole city down. I just don't think that there's any way Ned would have a chance. I mean, the only chance would be Stannis.
Stannis, yes, exactly. He would have put word to Stannis. I got your throne for you. Get out your ass over here because we're going to need you. And Stannis would have been coming. That
would be his only chance, would be Stannis to save the day.
But that was his goal to begin with, was to put Stannis on the throne.
But then we have Renly. What if Renly, if they would have did the whole thing with, you know, that with the Lannisters again, we would have had a different situation going down. We would have had them taking over. The army was too big.
I
tried to debate that with Mo, and I lost that.
I don't know.
I gave him my best shot, but that army at Tyrell is just too big. I couldn't defend Stannis' cause.
I don't know if once Stannis is put on the throne, if Renly wouldn't have sided by him. The only reason Renly wanted it is because Stannis didn't know what happened, and he thought he could get it. But if Stannis is on, I don't think Renly's teaming with the Lannisters. I think he's coming back. Who's giving him his fucking lands and everything like that, which is really the king. He's not going to fight against the brother. So I think if
he's fighting, no. Renly's fighting against. Renly wants the throne right off the back. As soon as Robert dies, Renly's trying to get the throne.
Yeah,
he's not
going to stand publicly against his brother. He might work behind the scenes, but his army has to stand with Stannis. He can't team up against him. Unless
it's a dicey situation. The fact that Ned Stark is hand to the king, he would hold Joffrey at that particular time. Joffrey would still be the king. It brings up a lot of different situations that would happen there, and if that actually happened and went down like that.
I mean, so we're kind of arguing something that's possibly a narrative, but it never was. So I suppose we can move on. I think
it's quite all right. It's good to think about though, regardless. It's still something good to think about.
If Littlefinger had helped Ned would be fine at this point. Stannis would be already on the throne, and we'd be understanding a little at this point in time.
I can give you 1,000 different ways Stannis should have been on the throne if people would just fell in line. 1,000 different ways. But the easiest way he should have been on the throne is he should have just brought Melisandre to Blackwater with him, and then he would have won. And that would have been it.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point right there. Dealing with the White Walkers, Melisandre dealing with the White Walkers. I may have to change the title of the video. I don't know. But dealing with that situation, Melisandre. We see that she has a little bit of ability to shoot the fire at the R+L, the bird, and burn them up, right? And take them out. Oh, that was Vlad Sixskins that she burnt up, correct?
Sorry, again, I was...
When Melisandre shot the fire at the bird and burnt them out of it.
Is this in the books or the show?
In the books.
I don't remember it. I'm sorry. The last two books.
I do believe it. I'm gonna say it was. I don't think it was. I think I'm gonna say it was Vlad that she burnt his ass out and scared him out of it. But it seemed that she has ability to set things afire, a combustible type of situation with fire, some type of fire starter power that she has.
Totally don't remember. That's
it was R+L's eagle that's saying that she burnt up, and I think it was Sixskins too. I'm saying Sixskins. People are saying R+L. I'm sticking with Sixskins. Y'all just trying to mess with me because I'm drinking.
Sixskins.
All right. So she has some type of combustible firepower. Then she says that Stannis would have won if she would have won. We see the wildfire there. Is there a way that maybe she could manipulate fire and she would have been able to manipulate this wildfire?
If she has fire ability, I mean... wildfire. So fucking strange because it's... I don't know if it's magical. I don't know if it's got spells woven into it to create it. But is it in as her fire power? I don't know. So this brings up a different question. You have fire, red fire.
Mm-hmm.
You have talk about the blue fire, Varys saw, and Jamie dreams about shit like that. And then you go the green fire, which is wildfire. That's two different fires, the red, green, and blue, which I do believe are the colors of the Trident Allied.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting in itself. Sorry.
No, that's quite all right. No.
I think there's probably different kinds. So the Great Other is probably the blue fire, ice fire, frozen fire that we hear about. Green fire is sort of a scientific creation, which would be citadel based and stuff like that. And you have regular fire, which is Targaryen, true fire. I don't think she would have been able to. I think
you think it was a lot of bullshit she was talking when she was just saying it?
I think she tends to do that. Yes.
Well, she definitely is a con woman. She admits to being a con woman at some point, but I don't know if it's a full con or a half a con. You know what I mean?
Half a con. It's kind of like probably Trump. I don't mean to get into it, but believes half the shit that he's saying, but he can't pull it off.
Well, we see the powers work here and there. I think it's to the point like it's kind of like when you're a magician. I mean, when you're a comedian and you walk around and people say, "Tell me a joke," that she's this red priestess, and people like, "Well, show me something about your God if you're God." So she has to have these tricks to prove it because she can't just command the Lord of Light to do things. It just happens when it happens.
I like that. That's a good explanation for sure.
You know, so I think it's a more of a situation like that with her when she does that in her connings. But she does do con type situations here and there when she has to. I
think that she believes that she would have been able to help him. I don't necessarily think that she would have been able to.
People are saying she's Donald Trump. We're not going to get into that right now, people. We're not. I will say that MP is in Canada, safe and sound.
I am, thankfully. Do you want to talk to the audience for a second and then grab another beer?
Yeah, I'll talk to the audience real quick. So I am here looking back at the chat. Let's go back over to y'all. I see my man Pete Easy up in this place. Isaac Jacobs is up in this place. I see someone whose name I cannot pronounce up in this place. I'm not gonna say it. I see my man Kobe's up in this place, right? John Boy chilling right here. You know what I mean? So You know, Eli wants to go with MP as a refugee and chill there with him. You know what I mean? You know all that. So let me see. What is that saying? Tony, what are you, 2 hours from Canada? Yeah, I'm about 2 hours from Canada. And that's probably, I can get to Canada by 2 hours. You know, I'm right there. A little bit longer than that. You know what I mean? Because I'm probably about 2 hours, about a little less, maybe. Yeah, but maybe. Nah, because I don't know. I think I'm about 3 hours from Buffalo, I think. Around there. I think I get to Buffalo in about 3 hours. What up to Sailor Diva? How you doing? Brazil? Who's going to Brazil? Home of the big booty women? I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. But I don't blame you for going there. I'm going to take questions right now. So if anyone does have a question about anything that MP and me have talked about, please put them in there. And when MP, you back? I don't know if he's back yet. I'm not even looking there. When he's back and we get back, I will definitely go and we will talk about that. Yep, Saratoga, that's where we wrestling. I used to live in Albany and go to Lake George all the time. George, Saratoga, that's where you should be. If you were there right now, I'd come and check you. We'd be chilling with me, having a beer. You know what I mean? Oh, no doubt about it. So if you ever do get back around here, come check a brother. Hit me up. Let me know what's up. All right. Question, DJ11. I don't know how that tastes. I'm sorry. We're going to go to the next question. When is MP's next video coming out? God damn. MP.
I was get one out before. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
One out before the show starts. Like an actual music video, not the little 2-minute fucking clips that I've been putting up there. Stop doing that because it's cheap. I want to do 99 things that R+L J isn't one.
Tanner Scott asked, would I ever consider streaming a Game of Thrones risk match? I guess you are looking at the wrist board in the background. And no, straight up, that we are giving one of those away on Teflon TV. We are also giving away Game of Thrones Monopoly. You see it right there. MP has it, right? He has a copy of Game of Thrones Monopoly. You see that. We're gonna give that away. We're gonna give that away on Teflon TV. We're gonna give these away to you. And I think how I'm gonna do it for one of them. For two, we're gonna give away two on one thing. This is how we're gonna do it. I'm probably gonna do a show, a live stream. I'm gonna ask a question. And the first person in the chat that I see with the first answer, you're gonna win it. It's gonna be that simple. It's gonna be that simple. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, MP? I don't want to do it too complicated or make people jump through hoops. Watch the live stream. I'm going to ask a question. The question I ask is not going to be a question that you have to be a Game of Thrones eater of the books, like the people who do the channels, to know it. It'll be something that not anyone will get, but just about anyone will get. And you should know it if you think about it. Everyone will know it. And that should be it, and you win, and you taking that home, and you're gonna play with your family, and I hope you have a good time with it.
That's awesome. That's a great fucking giveaway.
Thank you. And I have a new show that I'm doing. I am going to be doing this new show tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what the show is, but it will be available. I'll put it out probably on Sunday or Monday, but it'll definitely be out. I will say that we have the NSSS will be in it, and we will have the Hype Watch members in it. And in this show, when it happens, the winner of this show, when it goes down, will be playing for one of my Patreons. And if they win, the Patreon person will win, so they'll be playing for them. That is how I'm going to do another giveaway with that thing. So please look forward to seeing this show. I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. Very good. Trust me. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it. I shouldn't even have talked about it that much.
So you guys can tell me about what this show is, and I'm just going to say you guys are going to enjoy it thoroughly. It's going to be great.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be definitely a good show. I can't wait to do it tomorrow and get it popping for you people. So we're gonna do that. So it's like I said, when I do that show, there'll be like when it's all, you'll understand it when I say it, but there'll be people in it, and they'll be playing for one of my Patreons, and that's how you will be able to win. We're gonna run it that way, and it's gonna be a good time. So definitely look forward to that coming up on Teflon TV very soon. Here, I have a question here. I'm just gonna take it. I don't know what it says. MP, we'll say. It says, "What do you guys think of Preston's theory that Jacket is using the glass candle to look for Bloodraven?" Now, I really heard that theory.
No, I haven't heard it.
But but I'll get into it anyway. So I don't know I don't know the details into it, but basically I can try to figure him out right now. He's saying that is Jack and Hagar using or is looking for a glass candle in order to search specifically for Bloodraven. He's using a glass candle already. So I don't know if we have proof that Jack and Hagar has used a glass candle. That would be the number one thing. I don't know if he has used it. Now, maybe he's looking for one to use. We see him in the Citadel right then, right? And he has access to a glass candle that is burning. So he could use it for something. So the fact that I don't know if he has used it, if he has, it hasn't been shown that I know of.
If he has used it, first of all, he would have to know their existence, fine, but you would think that he would know how to use them in general to begin with, which means that at some point we should have had one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have in the books anything that actually gives us a way to even look at that.
Yeah, even exactly that. Even if a glass candle is in front of you, how would you know how to use it?
Sure.
You would have to have that knowledge of having to use it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if a faceless man would have that knowledge to know how to use a glass candle. Let's say he does have the knowledge to know how to use a glass candle, because I don't know. You know, I don't know how it is if you placed a telephone in front of people back in the day. I don't think they know what to do with it, even though you can communicate with someone from across the country. If you just placed it there, I don't know if they know that they could do that with it. Or even if they knew that that's what it was for, I don't know if they would know how to execute it or use it. You know what I mean? Would they eventually figure it out? Yes. But at this particular time, as Jack and as Pig Boy in the Citadel or right there, I don't know if he has a lot of time. So let's just say that he does at that particular time know how to use it, just to say he does know how to use it.
The other argument is now because we're already lit at this point, maybe the knowledge isn't necessary. You just have to know what the purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But again, to try to communicate with Bloodraven, I don't know how from anything that Jack said why you tie that in to Bloodraven.
Yeah, that would be an issue. So if he knew how he gets there, he's looking for blood. The reason I would say if it would be that a dragon egg would have to be involved, but the fact that they have a dragon egg in their possession, the faceless men, I don't know if they would need two. You know, I don't know. You know, because they have one already from Euron. That would be the only reason I could see him wanting to get. I would have to watch his video impressions to know exactly what, because that would be the right there. Why would he want to search out Bloodraven?
What I'm struggling with is the context of why Bloodraven, why Preston thinks that it's Bloodraven and Jackins after. That's the context I'm struggling with.
No, I'm sure he has a very good reason for it. You know what I mean? I'm sure he has an excellent reason and why he thinks this, that his mind works a different way. That's why I probably can't think of it, and he got it. You know what I mean? So, but when I'm just going through it off the top of my dome right now, and I'm just doing it real quick, it would just be that. But we'll move on. We got a bunch of questions that are popping up here. So I'm going to go back up and scroll back down here for him and take them down real quick. What these White Walkers have to do with the first long night? What do the White Walkers have to do with the first long night? The first that's what makes the first long night the long night, right? Is the White Walkers coming?
I think we've learned that they actually bring the cold with them. So when they march, and that battle raged for however long, so they just brought the cold with them.
Mm-hmm.
Part of their body probably kind of like stand in the snow.
Yeah, and that's a
put their enemies at a disadvantage by freezing them.
Yeah, that's what I think too. That, you know, when you think about the long night, you also got to remember that it wasn't a night. You know, it was years, generations.
Yeah,
that lasted. You know, people were born and died while this whole thing took place.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like that in the show, guaranteed. Not going to take that long to deal with. But back then, that's what it was. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was a year. It was decades long.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know. So let me get to the next question. Is the ghost of High Heart was reminded of the tragedy of Summerhall during Arya's visions? Do you think that might mean Arya might reduplicate that by igniting the wildfire under King's Landing? Oh, maybe this person out from Idle Bus. Maybe you're a Teflon TV fan. Maybe you're not. But I have a video about everything. I have a video about my feelings on that exact thing of what the ghost of High Heart and why she refers to Arya as that, why she thinks of Arya when she sees that, and everything else. But Maester Payne, what is your feelings on that?
Judging from what we thought this season, I mean, I suppose if there's any, I guess they probably have more cash to get wildfire down now. I'm kind of thinking Cersei's going to do what she's going to do.
So when you look at that whole situation, and I think that it was Claire that pointed this out to me when I put it in there. I did it in the video and didn't realize what I do. You do stuff you don't realize what you do sometimes, and I did it, and I said that scene on Arya video, and Claire pointed out to me. She said they called Arya Darkheart. You know, so when you have Arya being called Darkheart, she called her. We have Lady Stoneheart, right? It's her mother. And then we have the tragedy of Summerhall being mentioned with that whole situation with Arya.
Okay.
That she associates Arya with the tragedy of Summerhall. So at some point, Arya there will be a tragedy that will happen around Arya that will be as devastating as the tragedy of Summerhall. There's no doubt about that. That's definitely going to go down.
Okay.
Now, I believe that it's going to involve Sansa, the Hound, and quite possibly Sansa could be pregnant at this time. We could have a reduplication of this situation go down the way it went down. Now, will it be wildfire at King's Landing, or will Arya set the wildfire off? I don't know. I don't think so, personally, but that is a good thought. I really haven't given it that a lot of thought, so I really shouldn't say I don't know. I haven't given enough thought that it would be the wildfire, but I don't really know if it would be the wildfire at King's Landing. But that is a good thought. It could be.
Absolutely, it is. It could just be something similar along those lines. It doesn't have to tie into the wildfire per se. Although I can see why they would think that or question that.
Definitely, I think that. When you look at the Faceless Men when you're talking about that and you have the dragon egg, I think when you have the dragon egg and you have the wildfire, when you mix the two, it's like a nuclear bomb. I think this is how the doom happened.
Okay.
That's what blew it up. That's why it killed the dragons and killed everyone. That's what the flame was that was able to do it. I think that's how they got rid of all of them. And I think that's what happened beyond the wall already and wiped out. I think that was kind of a trial type situation of what's going on. And I think that could be possibly what the Faceless Men are trying to do, to wipe out all the dragons and do that again to kill them all before Dany could take them over. Because obviously we know that they are not down with dragons or people who ride dragons. They don't want to see that come back.
Not many people do.
No. Only the fans of Dany and the show want to see it.
Sure.
Everybody else don't want to see that. All right, let me go to another question. Let me bring it down here. Jesus. It's hard to get down. Let's see. Do you think that Dany will reach Westeros within the Winds of Winter, or did the last episode of season 6 hint at Dany arriving at the very end of Winds of Winter because it was called Winds of Winter? What do you think, Payne?
I want to say, I mean, there's still so much he has to actually do there in the books, but well, I don't know. I guess both books are the same size in that too. They could be right. They could be closer to the end of Winter, for sure. You can deal with quite a bit of shit in Marine, and you'll still have possibly enough book to sweep her in, fight a battle, do a little bit of interning, talking to each other, and whatnot in that. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot that goes down in the Winds of Winter. She's got to get there. He's got so much ground to cover that it's got to be a lot more going down in the Winds of Winter than we have seen so far in the show, without a doubt. It's got to be so much more to wrap up, because she's got to really eliminate a lot of storylines if he's going to wrap everything up in the book after, I think. That's why I really think there's going to be another book. Because
go ahead. Yeah. No, I remember you saying that you thought there's going to be an extra book.
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah, so you know that's what I have to say. People, have real quick. I do not want to talk about the election really at all, but I will say this real quick: that if you are a Democrat and you are mad that you lost the election, it's your fault, your party's fault, because you had a guy by the name of Bernie Sanders that would have won the election for you, in my opinion. And they fought against him instead of doing the will of the people and allowing him to win, and instead of putting the person that they felt they should have put in there. And you get what you get, and that's life. All right, and that's the end of that. Real quick, I won't talk no more about that.
I agree with that. Spot on.
All right. Does anyone think George R. Martin will actually finish the book series? I think I just answered my opinion on that. Do you think that Valyrian Steel will take out the Night's King, or it will require Lightbringer Dawn?
It will require a new Forge version, or it's to be Lightbringer Dawn for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be Lightbringer Dawn to take out the Night's King. There's no doubt.
Fill him up with a dragon. That's not going to happen.
It's got to go down like that. It's not going to be just some regular Valyrian Steel sword. I've seen Moji Mo. I think Mo made a video about it. He said he think that Heart's Bane is Lightbringer.
Oh, because it named Heart's Bane, so it was the one push through the heart.
I think that his philosophy is that it's Heart's Bane, the hating of the heart, it went through the heart of this chick, and that's why it is like that. I think it's a big ass sword to be going through a heart of a chick, though. It's a big ass sword.
I don't know about Heart's Bane.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I can't put words in people's mouth, but check out his video if you want to learn more about why he believes that Heart's Bane is Lightbringer. I personally would have to say that Dawn is Lightbringer. MP thinks that Ice is a part of Dawn, so therefore we have two Lightbringers out there right now.
No, Dawn's a part of Ice.
Dawn's a part of Ice, my bad.
And into one thing.
Into one thing. And so now we have two swords out there.
Yeah, which I don't know if they're two separate have the same impact.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll have to be put back together at some point. I think probably Gendry is going to be the one to do that.
Yeah, they go back together. That's the only reason why I could see them bringing Gendry back. And we see in the leaks that Gendry is back. He's only back to be some type of blacksmith.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And there's only one thing for him to forge. You know what I mean? That's those swords back together. It's just going to go down like that. I mean, the House Lannister's not, I don't think, getting left with a sword.
Probably not at the end of this. No, you're right. You're right.
I can't see that.
Those two swords have to get back put to whoever's going to fight the Night King. So they're not, unless Jaime's the guy that kills the Night King.
Mm-hmm. I heard people ask before, Dark Sister, what's going on with Dark Sister? Dark Sister is Arya's sword. In the books, without a doubt, that Blood Raven sword, Dark Sister, Targaryen sword, will definitely be in the hands of Arya Stark. The blade, it's known that the blade is made for a woman.
Makes perfect.
And it's a Braavosi blade.
Which is what she uses. Makes perfect.
Exactly. Without a doubt, you know what I mean? So there's no doubt that that's what's going down. So when in the books, I do believe that Dark Sister will go to Arya. That will be her sword in the books, without a doubt. And she's the Dark Sister.
For sure. Absolutely.
So I can't see it going to anybody else.
No, totally down with that. That makes perfect sense.
Perfect. I mean, you don't agree with a lot of things I say.
I do. I agree with the stuff you say.
I appreciate it, though. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Even that video that you did where you said I didn't agree with that video that you made, I totally agreed with that video. I love that. I even talked to you about it, saying how much you love it. I just think that Robert walked away with a different opinion, but the reason why he went there makes perfect sense to me. They all wanted to have a look at the film. They all did.
Well, to get through that whole thing, we had to do a whole nother video, my friend. We can recast that.
Also, I always like that video.
I appreciate it. I do. I was like to say, I always love the video that you and Bar did. You made with Bar, and you know, I would never met Bar if it wasn't for you. I don't think you really introduced Bar to the YouTube community.
Well, that's on her though. That was a fucking kick-ass theory, and I fully believe it, and it's one of the best things I've ever heard. So yeah, it is. But that was all her. I just helped fill in some little pieces, but she had that theory worked out herself. Yeah,
I totally agree that's it. I didn't know. I thought that you both were together, but that's a great theory. And
he had messaged me and had the basic theory worked out, and I actually challenged her for a little bit on it. And then once I did some looking and realized what I was thinking was wrong, then they were often working for me.
No doubt about it. Yeah, but that's the first time I really I introduced the Bar. It was through you and everything else. So that's what it is, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Small council, baby. That's how we do. The question is, Asha Yara going to take over the Dampairs role in Winds of Winter chapter in the show, I guess.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is Asha Yara going to take over the Dampairs role in the show?
No, I don't think so.
So, have you seen anything on these leaks yet, or anything about them?
No, I haven't. I know. This is what I've got so far. I've seen John meet Danny. I've seen that. I haven't read any leaks or anything like that. I've seen John shake Tyrion's hand. And I seen somewhere talk about ice cream, but I think that's probably faked somewhat at this point. So that's all I know.
I won't go too deep into it. No, I don't want to go too deep into it with you then. But there's one part in it that says that Yara gets captured by Euron. So I think that people are thinking that maybe because she gets captured, that maybe then that's when we will see the Forsaken chapter of Euron.
Oh, okay, gotcha. The lead chapter. Or not the lead, the preview chapter. Shit. I suppose that's possible.
I think it has to, if they're gonna do that chapter, it has to be, because as we've seen that his brother that gave him the crown is down with him.
Yeah.
So there would be no reason for them to change it up, because in the books his brother's not down with him. That's why he grabs him up.
Yeah.
This one in the show, his brother's trying to find Theon and Arsha with him to kill him. So if they're gonna go with that route, I would think that it would have to be someone that doesn't like him. So therefore, I would have to think it would have to be her.
Yeah, I agree. I will have last question then. Out of the leak, what do you think? Does it play or does it not? Like, do you guys know everything that's coming up, or you think that's bullshit?
Well, all of the leaks?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's all true. I don't know. Some of it seems plausible, but it just seems like it's a lot of it could just be the guy just made up a lot of stuff, and that's what it is.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of it is spot on. It's matching up to a lot of this stuff.
Did they say that John Rivers' son?
Huh?
Did they say John Rivers?
They didn't say it, but I think you know it.
Maybe in the TV show.
We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens.
I feel like Ned has to go to Starfire, and there's a birth happening right around the same time. There's another unexplained fire. Whether or not maybe the miscarriage is true, but it's. I feel like we're trying to make that journey. There's no point in not getting it that journey. And that means there's a possible baby swap still to come.
Just seeing about that. But right now, it's we're almost out of time here, people. We almost got the bounce up here. We've been doing this for a little bit while, but as we always do on Teflon TV, for the 98 people watching at this particular time, I think we were all the way up to 110 at one point. We have a man named the Lord Griffin's Reborn, Lord Commander, John Connington, who I've never seen the sigil in my chat before. So I'm going to answer his question before we go through that real quick, because I've never seen this man here. So his question is, Dream King's Guard. Oh, my God. Did I really ask this question? Dream King's Guard? That is a big question, Griffin. You know what? I'll make a video on a Dreams King Guard for you, because that's too big for me just to answer right now. I have to really think about it. But I'll do a video on it, and I will shout you out on the video. In fact, hit me up on Facebook so that I can remember your name, and I will shout you out on the video that you gave me the idea to do the video, and I will do it. When I get that, I'll do that video for you. All right? But as a tradition on Teflon TV, it is time to rep your hood. So I would like you to please, if you will, put down in the chat where you are from, and people could know exactly where you were repping from.
Cool.
Right. Yeah, I like to do that, you know what I mean? Because we see a lot of people from all over the world, MP. We got people from South Africa. We got people from all over. We see Renee M, Baltimore. We have, it goes fast. I'm going to have to go. All right, let's start from the top right now. We got Baltimore, AU Pac Mule, Seattle, Mafia, Japan, Kevin Cleary, Memphis, Atlanta, Georgia, from Pete Easy, Cynthia from Florida, Biotic Flux, Ohio, Script, Ohio, David Adams, Knoxville, Tennessee. Combezy, San Jose, California. We got Pooh Bear from Florida. Beachin from Los Angeles. Mormont, Sweet Tony. I am. It's very sweet, but thank you very much. Eli from Little Rock. What else do we have here? I seen just shot to the bottom. It's all over the place now. Illinois, Oakland Isle, California, France, Oak Isle, the Boogie down Brooklyn. Boogie down Brooklyn. Boogie down Brooklyn. The Boogie down is the Brooklyn, baby. That's the Boogie Woogie. We got my man, the Griffins from Lord Compton from London, Manchester, UK, Renee M, Baltimore. I think I said that. Akron, Ohio, Vegas. Panty Man is in. Well, his name is Panty Man. I would think he in Vegas, right? I would think he up in there in Vegas, yeah. You know what I mean? Nah, Mr. Conson, I'm not judging you. I'm drinking too, baby. That's what this is. We drink on Teflon TV, Drunk Game of Thrones. That's how we do it.
I couldn't do it any other way.
That's how we get down. The Hollow Hill, London. We got a lot of people from a lot of places. Thank you for repping your hood. And thank you for everyone. The Panty Man and Virgin Islands need to get together. Alicia, Lawrence, Virgin Islands. Oh my God, Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands. Oh, Little Rock, Opera from Miss Know-It-All. Brooklyn, Teresa. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Sailor Diva, rocking from the big D. She's from the D. She drinks pop in the D. That's Detroit.
Detroit, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not that ignorant.
Taylor is from Toronto, baby. We got Meriden Mormon from South Africa.
Nice.
Then we got Claire Gray from the old school. Nymeria from Philly. We have someone from Finland. I don't think I've seen that before. Samu from Finland. That's what up. I don't know anything about Finland. Only thing I know about Finland, I'm gonna tell you the truth, is probably Finley, the wrestler.
I know they have a somewhat decent hockey team. That's about all I know.
Finland. Yeah, I think that's all I know. I think that's all I know about Finland. I would like to know more though. It sounds like a really, really good place. Finland. Huh?
The world is a great place.
The world is a great place.
It's
because we have beautiful women in it. I mean,
it's beautiful. Everything, everywhere you go, it's a new experience, and it's fucking. Awesome.
It really, a lot of people, I think a lot of people take that for granted, how beautiful the world. I don't, you know, a lot of times, and when I wake up in the morning, I drive to work and I'm out there and I look outside the window and I just look at the clouds and everything, and I say to myself, this is a beautiful place to be right here. It's just beautiful. Without a doubt. And I would just like to say, here we go. What animal would represent House Teflon? That is a very good question. I've been through that in my mind a couple of times. But there's no doubt, if I had to say, it's got to be the gorilla. It has to be the gorilla. It got to be the gorilla. The gorilla, the ape, right? It has to be an ape or a gorilla. I got to be one of them. That's the only way it's going down.
But you're not a vegetarian, are you?
No.
I don't know.
What would be your animal sigil, Maester Payne?
I don't know. I cheat because I want to say, and I blame LT for this because he always called me the quiet wolf, but I'd want to go with the wolf. But if I had to pick something original, I'd have to put some thought into it. I mean, probably like a.
Yeah, I would have to be the big gorilla. I would have to be that. That's what it have to be. You have to see those fangs on my shield coming to get your ass.
It would make a fucking very scary fucking sigil, that's for sure.
Grape Ape. Grape Ape. I know Grape Ape, all right? So I seen that show. How much is that? That's Megilla. I seen Grape Ape. Now, back in the day, there was two things, Grape Ape, and there was another one, Megilla Gorilla. Two shows, right? Back in at the same time that came out. So you should know that too right then. But you know what I mean? How much is that gorilla in the window? Remember that? That's what it's all about. It's back in the day, son. Look that up. Anyway, besides that, yeah, definitely the gorillas. You know, we the gorillas in the mist, baby. The gorillas in the mist.
Yeah, I love that fucking movie.
Underrated. That movie was. Underrated. But yeah, no doubt. We about to bounce up out of here, MP. You know what I mean? And before we do, I just want to thank you for coming through, man. And spending some time with me, man, and hanging out. And we definitely gotta get together and do this more often, man.
I will. Give me 2 days notice and I can probably show up. Last time it was 20 minutes before and I was like, holy fuck, no, I can't do it. Yeah, for sure.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And to everyone who came through, all 100 and something of y'all, for chilling, you know what I mean, and coming through and hanging out with me and Maester Payne. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. You know, maybe we jump another one off on next Friday, you know, and do another one for you and talk about some more stuff. I may have to try to get a different I may have to try to do something different for you when I rock it and stuff like that in the stream. I'm gonna try something new. Maybe put the questions up, your chat on screen or something for you, so you can see that live when that's going down. Oh no, we'll figure that out. You know what I mean? Huh?
Is there a way to do that?
It's definitely a way to do it. I see them video game people run that all the time. So you know what I mean? There's definitely I'll just have to ask around and try to figure that out, you know what I mean, and get that going. So we will see, but as I said, tomorrow I'll be recording my new show, and so I think you really will enjoy it. So look forward to seeing that. I'll try to get the most. It'll be out no later than Monday, but maybe I'll get that out Sunday and do another video for Monday. And I'm thinking about switching to my Monday videos to Tuesday, but that'll be a further update. As I said, the Monopoly giveaway, the risk giveaway, you know when it's going to go down, it's going to go down right in the chat. You got this. Be live, answer the question. It doesn't matter if you have a channel. It doesn't matter what you have. As long as you are subscribed to my channel and you answer that question first, correct, you're going to win it. That's how it goes down. So if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this. Please spread this across the realm. And please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace. And stay sexy.